This slide represents chronic inflammation, chronic cholecystitis. In this slide, we will see benign looking mucosa. This is benign looking mucosa, heavily infiltrated by chronic inflammatory cells, mainly lymphocytes and histiocytes, in addition to abundant fibrosis, fibroblast formation. In this slide also, we look at thick wall and many chronic inflammatory cells infiltration. Thick wall. The mucosa is heavily infiltrated by chronic inflammatory cells. These cells are mainly lymphocytes and histiocytes, in addition to abundant fibroblast proliferation. These are spindle cells. Also, spindle cells means fibroblastic cells proliferation. These are the features of chronic inflammation. Chronic inflammatory cells, fibrosis. Sometimes we may see giant cells. Sometimes we may see giant cells. These cells are remnant of destroyed glands. Destroyed glands. These are not giant cells, but benign looking mucosa. Benign looking mucosa entering the submucosa or the muscle layer is also called Rokitansky-Ashoff sinuses. So this is an example of chronic inflammation in which fibrosis and chronic inflammation or chronic inflammatory cells, heavily infiltrated chronic inflammatory cells, these are heavily infiltration by chronic inflammatory cells and abundant fibrosis. This is an example of chronic cholecystitis, chronic inflammation. That is all. Thank you very much. This is an example of liver fatty change, in which there is multifocal areas of fat degeneration represented as fat vacuoles within the hepatocytes. These are fat vacuoles, vacuolization of the hepatocytes. These are the vacuoles, and this is a chronic inflammatory cells infiltration, but in between this area is intact from inflammation. This is fatty change of the liver. This is fatty change of the liver. Fatty change. These vacuoles are presented here. Is clear? Each cells contain multiple vacuoles of variable size and shape, pushing the nuclei to the membrane. At the periphery of the membrane, at the periphery of the cell, giving signaturing appearance مثل حلقة المحبس, signaturing like signaturing. This is fatty change of the liver associated with alcoholic hepatitis. This is also an inflammatory process in between, giving the septa. These septa represent chronic inflammatory process in which this is cirrhotic liver cirrhosis. This is liver cirrhosis with fatty change of the liver. The main point in this slide is to see you the fatty change of the liver. This is the fatty change. This is the fatty change of the liver. Thank you. This slide represents acute viral infection of the liver. Acute hepatitis, acute viral hepatitis, in which the liver parenchyma looks benign, but there is multifocal areas of ballooning of the cells. Ballooning of these cells are ballooned, edematous, hydrophobic degeneration. It's called ballooning of cells. And few scattered inflammatory cells, mainly lymphocytes, like this area. These are lymphocytes. And this is the Councilman body, means apoptotic cells. Councilman body, apoptotic cells. This is apoptotic cells, Councilman body, apoptotic cells. This is also apoptotic cells, and few scattered inflammatory cells. This is Councilman body. Then the features are inflammatory cells, infiltration, mainly lymphocytes, ballooning of the cells, ballooning of the hepatocytes, hydrophobic degeneration of the hepatocytes, in addition to formation of apoptotic cells called Councilman body cells. These are the main features of acute viral hepatitis. Acute viral hepatitis. This is Councilman body also. Councilman body means, apoptotic cells. This is occurring in acute viral infection. This is an acute inflammation of the kidney, acute of the liver, called acute hepatitis. Acute inflammation of the liver, acute viral hepatitis. Thank you.